I'm eating breakfast at the same time, so you have to bear with me if I pause randomly. Um, and forgot to charge my good camera up, so once again using a webcam. Um, wanted to answer a couple questions that people, I'm sure the people, some of them will be asking, but if you have my Skype, or in one person's case, if you have my email, several people have that, but he really doesn't seem to get what's going on. But anyways, where have I been for the past pretty much summer? Because I've only shown up on Skype on and off, intermittently, and then I vanished again. Well, first thing is, in the beginning of the summer, my best friend Anthony came to visit from Colorado, and I was working at the same time and everything else. And so Bessie really never was turned on. In fact, Bessie still hasn't really been turned on much. Um, so I just didn't bother, getting on my phone or something, which I really don't get on Skype on my phone ever. Um, and in the case of my laptop, it has a lot of network problems, so I tend to stay off Skype if I can. But some people know that in some points I actually wasn't replying to anybody. I've had a couple people assume I was dead or something. What's been happening is, he's already back in Colorado, the guy I was talking about at the beginning of summer. Um, but what happened was, um, and this is very recent, about a month or so ago, started, I'm trying to find a second job, really. And on top of that, I'm working on this, which, only about 4.5 people know what this is right now. And, yeah, so I'm working on producing content. I've been working on getting another job, because I need to get one. Um, been fixing some of my crap, and just stuff. And so there comes a time, and it's not always intentional, but um, when I kind of ignore everybody, I try, like, especially on Skype, because the problem with Skype is I get invited into a million fucking group conversations, and so um, I'll sometimes ignore those. I'll try to get back to everybody, um, but when this kind of stuff happens, I don't know, it's a weird thing I do. As far as the people on email, well, there's only really one person, but basically, if I really do only have a limited amount of time, and some people have said that I'm lying about it or bullshit. I have to have time to create a simple email or something like that. Well, yes, I do have plenty of time to make a simple email, but some of the people, I get a lot of emails for one, um, several. In fact, right as I started this email, I got one or two more, or right as I started this video, not email. So that's the first thing. I do have plenty of time to respond to everybody's messages in theory, until you realize I get hundreds of them, from all over the place. So that's a thing. The other thing is, if you're asking like the same question over and over and over again, which some people do, I might answer it 4 or 5 times before eventually just kind of disregarding it, because it doesn't really get annoying. It just becomes a hassle. Um, but I know a lot of people assume that I had either died or gotten a wreck, and for the record, no pun intended. For the record, I actually was in a couple wrecks. Most of them were off road. There was one incident, and this was earlier this week. Um, I got run off the road, and my handlebar went into my collarbone, which I don't. Yeah, you can kind of see the mark. I'm fine. Nothing's broken. It's just bruised, and it was sore for a couple days. No, I didn't get their plate, by the way. It was a hit and run, um, and it was basically they lane splitted with their car essentially, but instead of doing it as a motorcycle would, they shoved the motorcycle off the road on a 2-lane essentially a two-lane highway. Um, both sides go 55, and they wanted to pass me because I was going to slow down for a turn. At this point, I hadn't even really applied the brakes until, um, unfortunately for me, I started applying the brakes right as they came beside me, and or right as they were about to come beside me, and then when they showed me off the road, which is probably a good thing because I'm sure if I was going the full 55 instead of, I don't know, 50, because I had barely even touched the brakes by the time this started, I'm sure I probably would be a lot more injured. But basically, I went from 55 to 0 in about 20 feet in gravel, really big gravel. So, no big deal. Um, but I'm not dead, obviously. I'm making this fucking video. But, I'm not. I don't know what else could have happened. Like, there really wasn't anything that. I'm trying to think of how to put it. There really wasn't anything that sort of made it impossible for me to reply, although before my hours were getting cut severely, I was in fact working like 6 days a week. And there was even, and when I was actually more responsive, I had school on top of working 6 days a week. And so I'd come home and I'd get home at probably 11 or 12 and be replying to everybody, letting them know, trying to keep updated with everything. And when I had a day off, so to speak, because of the way everything worked, I really only had a couple hours off in reality. So it's not like that now. In fact, I have a lot of time off because, like I said, my hours are cut severely. But what it is I'm just trying to find a new job. I'm trying to, well, really, I'm trying to produce some, um, well, I would say pre-recorded content, but the reality of it is, yes, it is sort of pre-recorded, but it was supposed to be already set to go. I'm just got to get a different microphone at this point because it's not set to go. The reason it's not out on YouTube yet is because of audio problems. And, to me, this microphone is bad, and the recordings I'm doing have wind noise in them with the GoPro, which is annoying. I've had a couple technical issues. Most of them are GoPro related. My front LCD is messed up, which I still don't understand how that happened, but whatever. I mean, I get how it happened. I don't get why it happened, because I did everything as I was supposed to. But anyways, so that's messed up. Of course, I have the common battery backpack technical bugs, um, which I'm sure I'll eventually master and figure out how to completely fix that. Um, I've had mysterious problems that I really can't explain. Well, I could explain them just fine, and it'd make perfect sense, but I can't explain why they happen. What it is, and I'm sure somebody else has had this problem. When you import the GoPro video, you may have noticed that the clips, if you order them by date and time, they should be in order. Sometimes reverse for some reason, but if you go by the numbers, for example, like it'll say something like GP00026 and then GP00027, which in theory would be, because it breaks it up like Fraps used to, which is fine. But in theory, 26 should be a big long file, for example, a car wash video. And then 27, if it cut off in the middle of the car wash, should be the rest of the car wash, right? No, it's usually like 30 or something. It randomly will number shit. Sometimes things get, even in the date and time, because it doesn't, um, one of the tricks to charge the battery involves taking the main one out and a couple other things. Actually, no, that's not why I do that. I do that because up until the firmware update that I did, and I still don't trust it, it would be on no matter what you did unless you take the battery out, and so you couldn't keep charge. So it'll change its date and time, which I'm taking full responsibility for. But even when I leave the battery in it because I have it on the charger, it'll still do it sometimes. So I've just gotta, instead of dumping it all into one big folder like I do with Fraps, because I can, I'm gonna have to start naming the files and stuff um, as their respective stuff. And then of course I have SD card import problems where either the SD card will move slightly and then I can't import, which is, that's easy. But the biggest problem I have is the read write protect tab, because I have to use a micro SD card. The adapter has that tab, and what's annoying about it is it will, when I insert it into my laptop, it will always go, the down position is, I guess, protected. And for some reason, on this particular computer, that is always engaged. And the other thing is unlike an actual SD card, it can move just pretty much by air, I would imagine. So, you know, when I find the videos on the GoPro, I can't name them on the GoPro. So I don't know. I'll figure something out. Of course, there's the issue. Audio, I already said. Video editing is actually an issue. I've been doing it mostly on this laptop because all the software I have on Betsy, like Sony Vegas and stuff, has always been glitchy. To where it'll randomly crash and stuff, and I'm assuming that is probably the version I have as well. But I used Sony Vegas many years ago, or not really many years. How many years has it been? Holy fuck! It's almost been 8 years. No, really? No, there's no way. It's been 4 or 5 since the version I used. It was 4 or 5 years ago, and it was probably older because my school owned it. But and I had it mastered. For some reason, the newer Vegas, I would anytime I would edit any video, it would actually A, make it bigger, and B, half the time screw it completely up. Sometimes it would actually delete the original files and shit, which is stupid as fuck. So, you know, I'm working all that out. I'm trying to produce quality shit instead of just like taking 30 gig worth of film, putting it in Movie Maker, compressing it, and uploading it to YouTube as a 3 hour long montage or some stupid shit. So yeah, I'm not dead. I'm not ignoring most people. I already said the people I ignore. And I'm fine. I'm just trying to get another job, and I'm working on this. And so, yeah, it's nothing personal. I'm not trying to avoid anyone's. I'm just I'm busy is what it comes down to be. Partially, anyways. But yeah, so don't worry. Just don't worry about it.